Honorable Mr. Justice David Ramachandran Sir, Judge High Court of Kerala, Advocate Anil Kumar Sir, President, High Court Unit of the Bharatiya Abhibhashaka Parishad, members of the legal fraternity, and my dear friends. It is my greatest privilege and honor to welcome you all to the 10th session of the study circuit program conducted by the Bharatiya Abhibhashaka Parishad High Court Unit. Understanding the need for a continuous legal education, the Bharatiya Abhibhashaka Parishad has always been instrumental in organizing classes touching on a variety of important and relevant topics for the legal fraternity. Taking into account the fact that the legal profession can at least initially seem a little daunting for new entrants, the Bharatiya Abhibhashaka Parishad has embarked on a journey of organizing the budding lawyers orientation and training session. These classes seek to equip lawyers with the skill, knowledge, and expertise required to excel in the legal arena. We have with us today none other than Honorable Mr. Justice David Ramachandran Sir. Of course, David Sir is no stranger to any of us. However, as part of my duty to welcome him, and also for the purpose of those newly enrolled lawyers who are with us online as well as offline, I might be permitted to say a few things about him. Trust me, I will try to keep this as brief as possible. However, the literature about him is so vast that it was nearly impossible to cut it down to make it into the few paragraphs that I am about to say. Justice David Ramachandran Sir started practice as advocate in March 1991 under the guidance of his father, Senior Advocate Mr. M.B.R. Nair. Sir has been counsel for the High Court of Kerala, for the CBSC, for various private and public companies, as well as banking and financial institutions. Sir was designated as Senior Advocate in 2015, and the very next year he was elevated as Judge of the High Court of Kerala. The most important aspect about Sir is that as Judge he has penned various judgments that have greatly impacted public life. These include a number of judgments which we all know have vastly improved the conditions of roads in Kerala. It has resulted in flooding in the city, having abated to a great extent. It has resulted in the removal of unauthorized flex boards and flags. He's also penned judgments protecting the dignity of the citizens by declaring the use of abusive words commonly used by the police force as unconstitutional. Sir was also heading the division bench which directed the government to anonymize the COVID-19 data before handing it over to a foreign company for processing. It is my greatest privilege to have Justice David Sir amongst us, and I welcome you, Sir, to this program. I also welcome each and every one of you who are attending this program both offline as well as online to this program. Let's embark on this enriching journey together. I wish you a very enriching and productive experience. Thank you.
Honorable Justice നമ്മൾ അഭിഭാഷക പരിഷത്ത് ഒരു ഓറിയന്റേഷൻ ക്ലാസ് ആയിട്ടാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ നടത്തുന്നത്. നിങ്ങൾ പലരും കോളേജിൽ നിന്ന് കോടതിയിലേക്ക് ചുവട് വെച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന സമയമാണ്. കോളേജിൽ നിന്ന് കോടതിയിലേക്ക് ചുവട് വയ്ക്കുമ്പോൾ വിദ്യാഭ്യാസ കാലത്ത് വളരെയേറെ അഭിഭാഷക വിദ്യയെക്കുറിച്ചും കോടതിയെക്കുറിച്ചുള്ള സ്വപ്നങ്ങൾ കണ്ടു. സിനിമകളിൽ കൂടെ കാണുന്ന കോടതികളൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട് സീനുകളൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട് മനസ്സിൽ അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു രൂപങ്ങൾ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് കോടതികളിലേക്കാണ് വരുന്നത്. കോടതികൾ വരുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് തികച്ചും വ്യത്യസ്തമായ ഒരു അനുഭവങ്ങളിലൂടെ കോടതികളിലൂടെ ഇത് കടന്നു പോകുന്നത്. നിങ്ങൾ ഇന്നലെ വരെ എന്താണോ മനസ്സിൽ കണ്ട സ്വപ്നങ്ങൾ അതായിരിക്കത്തില്ല ഒരു പക്ഷെ കോടതിയിൽ പോകുന്നത്, കോടതിയിൽ കാണുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ ഓരോ നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞ പല ജഡ്ജികളും ഓരോ കോടതി ഓരോ കോടതികളിലും നമ്മൾ എങ്ങനെ മുമ്പോട്ട് പോകണം, എങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കണം നമ്മളുടെ കരിയർ നമ്മൾ പരിപൂർണമായ വിജയത്തിലേക്ക് എത്തിക്കേണ്ടത്, അതിൽ ഓരോ കോടതികളുടെയും ക്രാഫ്റ്റുകൾ എന്തായിരിക്കണം, ഇതെല്ലാം നമ്മൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കേണ്ട ഒരു സമയമാണ്. ഇതാണ് ഈ വെഡിങ് ലോയേഴ്സ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇപ്പോൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കേണ്ടത്. എങ്ങനെ നിങ്ങൾ കോടതികളിൽ പെരുമാറണം, എങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കും കോടതികളുടെ ക്രാഫ്റ്റ്. ഓരോ ജഡ്ജി സത്യത്തിൽ ഓരോ ജഡ്ജിനെയും നിങ്ങളുടെ പ്രവർത്തികൾ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങളുടെ ആർഗ്യുമെന്റ്സ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങളുടെ സ്വഭാവം കൊണ്ട് ഓരോ ജഡ്ജികളെയും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എങ്ങനെ സ്വാധീനിക്കാൻ സാധിക്കുമെന്നുള്ള ഒരു ഇതാണ് ഈ ക്രാഫ്റ്റ് കൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. അതിനു വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള ക്ലാസ് തന്നെയാണ് നമ്മൾ മെയിനായിട്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. പലരും കോടതിയിൽ എങ്ങനെയാണ് കോടതികളുമായിട്ട് പെരുമാറേണ്ടത്, കോടതികൾ എങ്ങനെ അഡ്രസ് ചെയ്യണം, ഇതെല്ലാം തന്നെ അറിയാവുന്ന പലർക്കും മനസ്സിലാവാത്ത ഒരു കാലഘട്ടമാണ്. അപ്പൊ അത് ഒന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കി കൊടുക്കുക, എങ്ങനെ കോടതികളായിട്ട് മുമ്പോട്ട് പോവുക, ആ ഒരു ഇതാണ് നമ്മൾ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത് ഈ ഓറിയന്റേഷൻ ക്ലാസ് കൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ ഇപ്പൊ മനസ്സിൽ കാണുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ അതിനു വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് നമ്മുടെ ശ്രീ ദേവൻ രാമേന്ദ്രൻ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അതിന് പറഞ്ഞു തരാൻ ഇതിൽ കൂടുതൽ നല്ലൊരു ജഡ്ജി കിട്ടുമോ എന്ന് വലിയ സംശയമാണ്. കാരണം ഞാൻ ഇത്ര വർഷമായിട്ട് എനിക്കറിയാം 45-46 വർഷമായിട്ട് കേരള ഹൈക്കോടതിയിൽ പ്രാക്ടീസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ അദ്ദേഹം ജൂനിയറായി വന്ന കാലം തൊട്ട് MP രാമനാഥ് സാറിന്റെ മകൻ ജൂനിയറായിട്ടൂടെ വന്ന കാലം തൊട്ട് പല ഘട്ടങ്ങളിലൂടെ അദ്ദേഹം കടന്നുപോയിട്ടുള്ള സാഹചര്യങ്ങൾ എനിക്കറിയാം. അന്നെല്ലാം ഏത് രീതിയിൽ അദ്ദേഹം നമ്മളുടെ അഭിഭാഷക സുഹൃത്തുക്കളുമായിട്ട് സീനിയേഴ്സായിട്ട് എങ്ങനെ പെരുമാറി, കോടതിയായിട്ട് എങ്ങനെ പെരുമാറി, ഓരോ സീനിയർ അഭിഭാഷകരെയും ഓരോ കോടതിയെയും അദ്ദേഹം എങ്ങനെ പെരുമാറിക്കൊണ്ട് എങ്ങനെ അദ്ദേഹത്തിനോട് അടുപ്പിച്ചു, എന്തെങ്കിലും അദ്ദേഹത്തിനെ കയ്യിലെടുത്തു എന്നുള്ള ഒരു പ്രത്യേക ആ ഒരു സ്കില്ല്, ആ സ്കില്ലാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ നമുക്കിവിടെ കിട്ടുന്നത്. അദ്ദേഹം ആ സ്കില്ല് നമുക്ക് പറഞ്ഞു തരുമെന്നാണ് ഞാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. ഇപ്പൊ ഇതെല്ലാം കഴിഞ്ഞ് നമ്മളിപ്പോ പറയുന്നത് ഗ്ലിറ്ററിംഗ് ജഡ്ജ് ഓഫ് ദി കേരള ഹൈക്കോടതി എന്ന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ പറയാം. ഗ്ലിറ്ററിംഗ് ജഡ്ജ് ഓഫ് ഹൈക്കോടതി പറയാം. And most one of the efficient lawyers when you are practicing, and a very good and lovable junior when he started his journey, lawyer's journey. അങ്ങനെ വ്യക്തിത്വമുള്ള ഒരു വ്യക്തി നിങ്ങളോട് നിങ്ങളുടെ ക്ലാസ്സുകൾക്ക് പറഞ്ഞു നിങ്ങളെ മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് തന്നെ ഈ ഓറിയന്റേഷൻ ക്ലാസ്സിലേക്ക് ഞങ്ങൾ ക്ഷണിക്കാൻ കാരണം അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ ഉപദേശങ്ങൾ നിങ്ങളൊരു കാര്യം മനസ്സിലാക്കണം. നിങ്ങൾ എത്ര കോടതിയിൽ പറഞ്ഞാലും ഓരോ ജഡ്ജിയും നിങ്ങൾ ഓരോ കേസുകൾ പറയുമ്പോഴും അവരുടെ മനസ്സിൽ നിങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ച് നിങ്ങളെ മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, നിങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ച് അവർ മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, നിങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ച് ഓരോരോ മനസ്സിലോട്ട് കോറിയിടുന്നുണ്ട്. ഈ കുട്ടി അത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് മാർക്ക് ഇടുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ അത് കൂടുതൽ 100% എത്തിക്കാനുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ എന്താണ് അതെല്ലാം അറിയാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് എന്നും 100% നിന്നിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു വ്യക്തിയാണ്. ജൂനിയർ ആയിരിക്കുമ്പോഴും വക്കീലായിരിക്കുമ്പോഴും സീനിയർ വക്കീലായിരിക്കുമ്പോഴും ജഡ്ജി ആയിരിക്കുമ്പോഴും നിന്നിട്ടുള്ള അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ ഉപദേശങ്ങൾ വളരെ നിങ്ങളുടെ അഭിഭാഷക വൃത്തിയിൽ വളരെ അധികം പ്രയോജനം ചെയ്യുമെന്ന് മാത്രം പറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ട് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ ഈ ഓറിയന്റേഷൻ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് വിലപ്പെട്ട ഉപദേശങ്ങൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് തരാൻ വേണ്ടിയാണ് അദ്ദേഹത്തെ ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു, അതിനെ ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു.
ഗുഡ് ഈവനിങ്. ഞാൻ സഞ്ജന തുടങ്ങിയപ്പോൾ എന്തൊക്കെ നുണയാന്ന് പറയാൻ തുടങ്ങിയതായിരുന്നു. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് അനിൽകുമാർ സാർ പറയുമ്പോൾ എനിക്ക് വിശ്വസിക്കാനേ പറ്റില്ല. എന്തൊക്കെയായി പറയുന്നത് എനിക്ക് അറിയില്ല. കംപ്ലീറ്റ് നുണകളാണ്. ഐ നോ ദാറ്റ് ബിഹേവ്സ് ദി പ്രോഗ്രാം അല്ലേ. ഐ ഡോണ്ട് നോ ഇതിന്റെ ഫോർമാറ്റ് എന്താണ് ഞാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത് എനിക്ക് അറിയില്ല. ഐ എം നോബഡി ടു അഡ്വൈസ്. സോ ഐ ഡോണ്ട് നോ നിങ്ങൾ എന്താ എക്സ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത് പോലും എനിക്ക് അറിയില്ല. Is it just that I speak? എന്താ പറയണ്ടേ, എങ്ങനെ തുടങ്ങണ്ടേ എന്നുള്ളത് വളരെ അൺക്ലിയർ ആണ്. ഫോർ ദ റീസൺ ഐ സ്റ്റിൽ ഫീൽ that I'm a very junior person. First day I came to the court on the 9th of March 1991. Anna courtilla I was enrolled on the 9th of March 1991. It's 34 years after that. It's been an extraordinarily wonderful journey, as perhaps most of you will say as time goes forward. I can't tell you anything very unique or something which I can contribute, but I'll possibly share with you what I have learned over the time. And these are all things that I have learned from my seniors, nothing that I have any royalty or authenticity to. He കഴിഞ്ഞ 34 years or 35 years of existence in the system has taught me one thing very singular. The most important thing for any profession, and particularly for a lawyer, can I ask you what you think it is? The most important aspect for a lawyer. Is there anybody who can tell me what, according to you, is the most singular thing for a lawyer? Actually, that applies to all professions, but mostly for a lawyer, particularly for a lawyer. What do you think is the most important thing for a lawyer?
Credibility.
Credibility. Dignity.
Integrity.
Integrity. These are the qualities. These are the qualities that leads to what I propose to say. For a lawyer, the most fundamental of all attributes is reputation. However good you are, however prepared you are, however meticulous you may be, if others, particularly the society, does not treat you as a good lawyer, you are not a good lawyer. The converse is also true, but I don't think that happens at all. Even if you are not prepared, you are not good. If the society believes that you are a good lawyer, you are a good lawyer. However, this is something that happens to all professions. It is not particular to the legal profession. So when I started out my career, I remember I was told I had the blessing to be with the company of very eminent people. My senior was my father, but I had acquaintance with so many eminent lawyers. They used to tell us, the importance of being known as a good lawyer, of being, the reputation of having a clean reputation of being an eminent person. And most of the people I have dealt with are Anil Kumar sir, we had the blessing of having some of the most eminent seniors at that point of time. I remember in 1994 when I got married, Jagannatha Rao sir, Justice Jagannatha Rao, he had already made it to the Supreme Court. He came back only for my reception at my father's invitation. And on that day, I remember him telling me, he was in the Supreme Court bench at that time. He said, young man, please understand that the best 20 lawyers in India are from Kerala. So we had that kind of a bar at that point of time. The finest of lawyers in the country was from Kerala. So people like us had the benefit of being with them on a regular basis. It's not that we could just walk up to them, talk to them, be with them. Our presence it used to really, guide us. It's not really guiding. It was something that we were getting more and more encouraged to be something that is a better version of yourself. What I'm now going to tell you is something which I've learned from my senior, from my father. He has always told me to be a better version of yourself every day. Now, I was not able to understand what the ambit was. But where you are in the profession, these are not advices, I'm just telling you my experiences. When you are in the profession, you tend to believe that you have reached a particular level and then there is nothing beyond that. In fact, latest one thing that you always hear is the degeneration of the profession. Wherever you go, people say there's a degeneration in the bar, there's a degeneration in the bench, there's a degeneration in the profession. But I'll tell you a very easy story. My father must have enrolled in 1966. So when I enrolled in the year 1991, my father said, what a wonderful time 1966 was. 1991 is terrible. My son enrolled in 2018. I had the privilege of enrolling him. I told him what wonderful things were happening in 1991. If my son becomes a father of a person who becomes a lawyer, he might tell him in 2045, what a wonderful time 2025 was. So actually there is a perception, a subjective perception. But there is a reason why this impression happens. That's because somewhere along the line, we tend to believe ഇത്രയൊക്കെ മതി എന്ന് നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയുന്നത്. അതിനൊരു ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ട്രാൻസ്ലേഷൻ ആർക്കെങ്കിലും പറഞ്ഞുതരാമെങ്കിൽ I'll be very happy. ഇത്രയൊക്കെ മതി.
It's just enough.
It's just enough. It's more or there. It is just there, not fully there. That's the beauty of Malayalam. ഇത്രയൊക്കെ മതി. അത്ര ചെറിയ വാക്കുകളിൽ കാര്യം സാധിക്കും. But that is really the problem. The day we believe that this is enough, this is just enough or itrayekka madi ennu parayunnu, that day dooms your end in the career. What I'm going to tell you is very simple, very simple. Profession is one that you live for yourself. Even if you are a junior, please understand, you don't work for a senior. You actually work for yourself. Because profession ennu parayunnu, it is not an employment. That is why it's called a profession. A profession is where you are on your own, you stand on your own. That is the beauty of profession. It is not an employment. So when you are a junior, obviously you are instructed by the senior in the formative ages. I was also there. I started with my father, I said. So I was a junior for a long period of time. ആ സമയത്ത് സീനിയർ പറയുന്നത് ചെയ്യുക, അദ്ദേഹം പറയുന്നത് പോലെ make your representations with the guidance he gives you. But then, please understand, you never work for the senior. You are actually working for yourself. Because professionally, you have to equip yourself with those most important skills and attributes. I always say this. If you have heard me in other speeches, I'm sorry, there may be some kind of repetition. Just like a surgeons hone their skills. For surgeons and the quality of the they keep on developing their skills. They hone their skills. HONE or honing of the skills. Otherwise, each of us are expected to hone our skills. But somewhere I'm getting some money. I'm working as an associate. I'm working as a partner in a firm. So I'm happy. I'm getting my money. That really starts your doom. That really starts your degeneration. Because please understand, when you are in the profession, and for that matter, life itself, the day you are born until the day you leave, that is education actually. And I've said this in many other speeches before. But life in the education. Education is not something that happens within the four corners of your, or four walls of your schools or colleges. Education is life. Life is education. There is nothing bigger than life to educate. But Shavana, what you should understand is, I said, honing of the skills in the Bhagamaya. You can do much better every day in order to feeling. That is what I call I used to say this is adding value to yourself. Now, for people to recognize you as somebody eminent in the profession or in their life, and if I find to ask this audience to name one president of India, you will all possibly take one name. More than that, if I ask you to take one name, one person who was the election commissioner of India, you will all certainly take one name. What is it that makes these people different from the others? There have been hundreds of people before that, and there will be hundreds after that. But why is it that when you think about a few people, you feel completely rejuvenated? For example, Justice V.R. Krishna, why is it that he stands? So there are certain attributes that we find in each individual. There are certain common traits that we always revere. അങ്ങനത്തെ traits ഉള്ള ആൾക്കാരാണ് നമ്മൾ എപ്പോഴും, we call them cut above the rest, the immaculate people, the extraordinary avatars. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഓരോരുത്തർക്കും we have the potential to be that. You must understand that each of us can be a Krishna or far better. Why not? Of course, yes, we have the potential. It is not that we don't have the intellect. It is not that we don't have the capacity. Each of us have the same capacity. Each of us have the same intellect. It is just the way you deal with it and the way you, entertain it on a regular basis. This is why I call it. This is a principle that I've always followed. It's adding value to yourself. Every experience in life, everything that you do, in the past, the future, and the present, the moment that you sit here, unless you are able to add it to your own, set of values, the values that you have created and the value that you will be. So it's adding to yourself, it is adding to your value. So when you are able to add your value, there is a aphorism you will got to know. First deserve, then desire. It's very simple. Mono words, actually the point is simple. When opportunity comes knocking to you, and you are not ready to take that opportunity, അത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് growth ആയിരിക്കില്ല, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് destruction ആയിരിക്കും സമ്മാനിക്കുക. So unless you are able to equip yourself to that level that you are able to take an opportunity that comes your way, and you do not know when the opportunity will come, you do not know. When for that you will have to be always ready, equipped and ready for it, kept ready in the world. You have to be ready for that opportunity that comes your way. For that, the only method is to keep growing, keep growing. Adding value in the world. Because suppose I am to tell you that I'm as good a lawyer as I am today, as I was in the year 1991 and the year before that. Would you call that growth? That's complete stagnation. But if I'm able to tell you that I'm a better version today than I was yesterday, that is growth. Commitment. It is not a commitment to the senior or anything. It's a commitment to ourselves. The first and foremost commitment is to ourselves. And professional, particularly a profession of law, the primary and the starting commitment, the commencing commitment is to oneself. This is something that we scarcely understand at that time. A profession can be very daunting. That's because a profession is something that is completely uncertain. You have no idea what will happen to you in 5 years, what will happen to you in 10 years. Whereas in a job, when you take a job, even in the judicial service, you start as a Kunsaf, you know, after a particular period of time, when you attain that seniority, you will become sub-judge, you will become CGM, you will become district judge, it goes like that. But in the profession of law, it is not like that. Profession of law, you have no guarantees. And that is why it makes it so very unique, and that is why it makes it so very breezy. It is that uncertainty that makes the profession all the more beautiful. Yes, the word can be daunting because when you start a career, and believe me, even though I started with my father as a senior, I had no guarantees in my life. My father couldn't guarantee me anything, except that he could tell me he would give me a few clients when I start off. If the client didn't like me, I'm sure they wouldn't come back to my father. If my father was to say, my senior was to say, no, he will argue, and the client did not like me, I'm sure he would have said, no sir, nothing doing. So I had a greater responsibility to ensure that my father was not put down. And that responsibility is for each of you when you work with the senior. But then the commitment we use is to yourself. You may be practicing in the High Court, but technically you are in the High Court, one court, but you are practically arguing in 46 or 45 courts. Each of us are different. Just as every one of you are different, every judge is also different. You will possibly recognize that very easily. What you can get away with one court, you will not be able to get away with another. So what you really require is an adaptation. Apart skill in adaptation, is there any profession where you will require your set of skills to be adapted to 45 different scenarios? Okay, 45 India, there are only 35 or 36 courts to it. So what? You have to adapt yourself to 36 different scenarios. Because every one of them whom you are talking to is actually very different and very distinct. There is another thing that makes our profession very different and very distinct also. Any other profession, if you do a particular job in a particular manner, you are possibly assured of an outcome. You may not even say that with me. So you might prepare for the night, burn the midnight oil as they say, Ellam prepare. A judge might dismiss you in a fraction. So this creates a lot of heartburn also. I have gone through it. It's not that I have not gone through it. I have gone through it. So that you become happy that it is not me, it is that bench which has done this. So I'm now getting all that back. A circle of karma. So as young lawyers, I remember, and today when I think about the matters I have done many years ago, if you ask me, I might possibly say I would do it in a different manner today. That's because as you grow, as you gain an experience, you understand that the avenues are very, very different. It's very simple to understand actually. And you know all this. It's not that I'm telling you something which is very uncommon or something very unique. Every journey that you take, there may be multiple options to reach the destination. You want to go to Trivandrum, you can take the MC road or the main road or any other road that is possible to be connected. or you can take the plane, you can take the car, you can take the train, bus. Which normally would you take? That which is easiest, expedient, and perhaps cost-friendly. It's the same thing with profession. Every lawyer handles a case differently. Have you understood why? It's the same problem that comes to you. But why is it that we think differently? And that is where the repository of all the benefits of thinking comes in. It's like going somewhere and you have multiple options. In the age of this AI and the computers, people say we can take away lawyers. There is a alarmist kind of a thought that there will be a time when the profession of law will be no there. I completely beg to differ, because lawyers can never be replaced. We are irreplaceable. I'll tell you why. Because every problem that we take, every problem that we encounter is a human problem. It is not a mechanical problem. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ human emotions have a role to play, because every problem entails somebody's life, somebody's aspirations, somebody's thoughts, and somebody's wishes. It carries tears, it carries loss. No computer can deal with it. It can only be done by a human being. But then, when you have multiple options in front of you, as I said, you have multiple ways of reaching a destination. What is your destination? To give the client the best, no doubt about it. Every lawyer eventually wants the client to win. So if that is so, what are we really doing? We choose among the alternatives, which is the most expedient and the best. Avadayana skill avashyam. This is where your skill over the years comes to play. If you think about a problem once, you will get one solution. You think about that problem again, you will get a second solution. You think about it third time, believe me, it will be the third solution. And you might even get countless solutions. But then, are all these solutions good for the client? Avadayana oru nalla lawyer kazhivu ennu parayunnu. Where you take that particular option, which is the best and the most expedient for your client, that makes a lawyer different from the other. And that is where all these concepts of adding value, of thinking clearly, all that comes to play. This is why I started saying, you never work for another in our profession. If there is anybody sitting here thinking that I will work for a senior, you are completely wrong. There can be nothing more different than that. You are all working for yourself. One day you will all be seniors. You should all be seniors. For that, you have to get ready, because this is a profession, as I said earlier, which deals with human lives. There is no profession like this which really deals with human emotions than law, nothing else. Even the profession of medicine, which I've always thought was equal or better than what we are doing. They are possibly God-men. But then, even there, the emotional angle is much less restricted. But our profession, we are dealing with the lives, the thoughts, the wishes, the aspirations of people. And that is very important for us to understand. Every day is a learning day. Every moment is a growing up moment. There is no saturation for us. Never believe that there is a saturation level. There is nothing. Never be in competition with another. The profession has a lot of heartburn because you see somebody else doing better. At least perceptionally, you think they are doing better. Somebody gets a good case, you feel that I'm not getting a case. Somebody becomes a judge, you feel, my God, I didn't become a judge. Not all will become judges, not all will have the same cases. And that is a variety that you see. So therefore, never be in competition with another. I don't know if you've heard this, Bernard Shaw in the famous quotation, never be in a rat race, because even if you win it, you end up as a rat. So never be in a rat race. You are not in a race with somebody. You should be in a race with yourself. And that race is a race that you will run for the life. If you are in competition with somebody, if you are running with somebody, for example, we are running against each other. If I overtake him, my life is done. I have nothing more to do. But if I run with myself, run against myself, to understand the best version of mine, which will never ever come until the day I go. If I do that, and if I am able to do that consistently, I will run my life with all the pleasure that I can get, because I am in competition with only myself. never be in competition with another. That brings in a lot of jealousy, rivalry, and all that. It is unnecessary in the profession. The profession can accommodate all of us. Yes, some of us may do better than the other perceptionally, but then there is no standard for the word success. What is success to one may not be success to the other. There are cases where lawyers garner so much of reputation but not money. There are cases where lawyers have made money and all the wealth but are not considered to be on par with the other. So it's a matter of growth and life. It's a matter of continuous education. I can go on and on and on. I don't want to do that. You've been extremely patient until now. I don't know how many of you will start yawning. You have not done that yet. But these are small things that we have grown up, listening and understanding as we went along with our seniors. I'll tell you one more thing. The importance of seniors. Our importance can never be thought of more than this time. Because this is the time, we are on a precipice now. We really require knowledge. We really require experience, guidance, inspiration. We are all products of inspiration. Anil Kumar sir correct. When we start the career, just like any one of you, we have no idea where it will take you, but we have stars in our eyes. Those stars are given to us by our seniors. N.K. Subramanian Chirikananda, because he had one of the finest seniors ever. Sami called the senior. Sami was a man who could really inspire you. My father was not very bad, but I'm saying they were all best friends. So the inspiration that we have got from our seniors, that inspiration still takes us through. We are still trying to be like them. And I remember, I don't know how many youngsters will remember the name, D.R.G. Valia, D.R. Govinda Valia sir. This is my personal opinion. Lawyers after 1991, after I have come, I have scarcely seen a lawyer who was more complete. He was my role model. I wanted to be like him. And I thought when I am arguing like him. But only to understand that I was not even a shadow of his. That was a kind of eminence that individual had, that man had. Wonderful lawyer, D.R. Govinda Valia. So each of us will have our role models. And the person who really inspired me, of course, apart from my father, was Justice V.R. Krishna. And I say this to many people. I say, if you have not met Justice V.R. Krishna, I can only sympathize. It's a shame. Because he was a man who could really turn things on its head and give you a different perspective. I used to have that advantage of being with him every day for 10 minutes. And this is something which I've said in many of my speeches. That changed my life. For about 10 years of my career, before I became a judge or before he left for his heavenly abode in 15, December 4th, 2015, I would spend every day in the evening 10 minutes. That was enough. That was a kind of person that he was. He could really inspire. Anecdotally, I'm just saying, I would go to him one day, he would talk about Tagore, for example, Rabindranath Tagore. He would talk about Gitanjali. He would possibly say the 13th couplet of Gitanjali. So I would go back and by heart it so that I can impress him next day. So I go back to him the next day with all the 13th Gitanjali in my mind, where the mind is without fear and the head is high, where knowledge is free, all that. I by heart that and go there. He would not touch that. He would go to Vivekananda. All right. Next day I learn Vivekananda. I read the Madras speech. Feel my children, feel for the poor, feel for the downtrodden, until your heart heals and the heart burns and all that. He will talk about something else. But then imagine this happened for years. So do you understand the kind of information and the kind of knowledge that I was able to gather? Only perhaps because I wanted to impress him. That is inspiration. It was not merely impressing him. It was just trying to tell him that I have become at least a pale shadow of yours. That is the kind of inspiration that we require as we go forward. I remember when one day Justice Krishna called me, he was 99 at that time. He called me and said, what is the name of that book which carries all the names of the medicines? So this was a word that I got from him. Forget Shashi Tharoor, you should hear Krishna. So I said, sir, it is Swami, it is pharmacopoeia. He says, brilliant, you are brilliant. I got that word from him. So So I told him, I did not say that. I took the credit. I was at least happy that Krishna for the first time said you're brilliant. So that is the validation that I had, even when I was 40 or 45. Not 45, he went away when I was 45 or so. So at about 40, when I was 40, 42, 43, that was the kind of inspiration that we had. And we had that kind of inspiration in the bar also. I'm not saying that it is not there alone, but I'm telling you this for one reason. Look for that inspiration. Don't think that inspiration will come looking for you. Watch for that inspiration. Look for that inspiration. That inspiration is available. It is just that you have to start looking for it. You will have to spend more and more time in courts, inside the courts, solely to understand the skills, nothing more. I'm not saying that the judges sitting there are the beginning and the end of all or anything. But you will find a lot of information in courts. Believe us, we were sitting in court those days. There would be some matter that we were waiting for. There would be somebody arguing a particular point that will register in your mind. And that you will use in a different context, in a different case, when perhaps much later, but you will remember. And I'll tell you one more thing. These are the times when you have your devices, all the computers and all that. I have nothing against it. Though I still remain the old black and white paper film. When we were young, the seniors would ask us to research a particular point. The only way we could do that was go to the library, scan through all the digests. The best thing about the digest was that when we are looking for a particular point, our eyes would go through many other issues. Because we are not searching it with a word. So we have no idea where that is. For example, I am asked to look up Constitution Article 14. I would see Article 13, I would see Article 15, I would possibly see Article 21 and all the other articles. I am looking for a particular point in Article 14. But today the problem is you write Article 14, you see only Article 14. I am not against computers at all. But that wide reading that you used to get, unwittingly, it's not that you were brilliant or you were very, eager or anything. It is just that you are forced to it. So the seniors would just tell you there is a judgment. I remember there are seniors like Shimati Swami used to call me. Suruvanan Swami it's like an encyclopedia. The man would tell you a judgment citation from his mind, 1942, 1935 Privy Council. I don't know how many of you have ever seen Privy Council. 1935 Privy Council, 1915 Privy Council. He will even give you the page number and it will be almost accurate to perhaps a few pages here and there. So we had the benefit of such people and that was what really they took us forward. We were corrected by those people. There were mistakes committed by us. It's not that we never made mistakes. We made large amount of mistakes, perhaps much more than all of you put together. But it didn't matter. These were people who could correct us and these were people to whom we looked up. So the profession is a beautiful way. It's like a cornucopia. It's like a bouquet. It's something that gives you so many experiences. It is not something that you can define in one word or in one session. It's an experience for life. It's something that will make you so very happy if you understand the true worth of it. It can also make you depressed if you don't understand what it is done for. So this is where the profession takes you to different multitudes. It's absolute bouquet of emotions. Profession is good for money also these days. It's not bad at all. When we joined in 1991, now it looks like a long time. 35 years is not a big time in any profession. Senior, come. We will not let any truant senior walk away. Come. So, so it is just the experiences that I'm trying to share with you. And if you are able to get that experience on your own, which according to me, as of today, it is not something that will come to you. You may have to go searching for it. If you are able to get that, believe me, this profession is something that is unparalleled, unlike any other. I'll tell you one more thing, the youngsters who are here. Many of you have possibly seen me in court. These girls who are there in my court, I don't know if you are my intern or somebody else's intern. At least 30, 40 interns are there in my court. They possibly think that I'm flippant also. It's possible, I'm not saying otherwise. But, what I was thinking about, I think I just missed it there. But I'm saying the kind of experience that you get sitting there, and I'll tell you, I was thinking about something else, sorry. I was telling the youngsters, the one thing that any judge will look at you and recognize is confidence. confidence. Take it from me. The first thing that you notice in any council, even a council we know very well, is a confidence. If I see a young council coming to me, walking up with confidence and speaking and then making the submission, I understand that that person, the girl or boy as the case may be, has done homework very well. The confidence that comes and exudes in a court is the confidence of being prepared, the confidence of knowing what you're going to say. You will not know the law thoroughly. It doesn't matter. You are too young. Your time to know law and to understand law comes to you maybe in 30, 40 years. For that matter, none of us are good at law. We are all still learning. I say this in court, I say I'm a good student, I can learn. And every subject that comes to us, we are literally learning. We have the assistance of eminent lawyers who come and tell us. And we are candid enough to understand and say that, look, I don't know. So that doesn't matter. Knowledge of law is not that's something that you should have in the first day you come to practice. In fact, you will have a very perfunctory approach to law in the first few years or the first few decades that you are there. You will refine it. That is why I said it's called honing of the skills. You will keep refining. But in the midst of this, one thing that any judge will watch is your confidence. And that confidence comes out of preparation. And that confidence comes from reading the briefs, reading the files, reading the law, and having a general reading. You are not a lawyer merely because of what you read from the law books or from the law briefs. You are a lawyer from the reading that you do otherwise. The profession, as Lord Denning said, language, that is a tool of a lawyer. Whether it is English, Hindi, whatever you call it, Malayalam, language, I have no biases against language. I'm impressed with any person who can handle multilingual people. But the point is, the confidence that you exude as you come forward. You're all youngsters. The confidence, you can never disguise confidence. You can never masquerade as confident either. The confidence is something that comes within you. Prepare a brief well. Learn that case as if it is your own life. If you're able to recount the problem as if it comes out of your own life, the approach is very different. Something that you should always test and see. For that, you require meticulous planning and preparation. It takes time for you to understand what a real problem is. As I said earlier, every time you look at that brief, you will get a different perspective. And every perspective may be right. But the true calling of a lawyer to understand which among the alternatives is the finest and the best and most expedient for a client. The client will appreciate a lawyer who is able to get his things done at the earliest time, most effectively, cost effectively. Take it from me. This is what every client wants. I say this always in court. No client is concerned about the legal principles that we speak in court. No client cares how the lawyer has performed or what the judge has done. He doesn't care for either the lawyer or the judge or the system, really speaking. He wants his things done. He wants it done effectively. And that is what he's looking for in a lawyer. I'll stop with just briefly taking through one more thing. Everybody knows this, ethics they call it. In my view, there are several ethics that you will see. There are the 4th chapter of the Advocates Act. It starts with a preface that you are the most distinguished citizens. That's how it starts. And it says, what is right for an ordinary person may still be wrong for a lawyer. How many of us remember this? The standards that the law and ourselves, we have kept for ourselves is very, very high. Very, very, very high. How many of us know this and recognize this? The preface says, what is right for an ordinary person may still be wrong for us. Everything that we do, it is tried and weighed in the scales of that perfection. And this is very important. You've all heard of ethics, you've possibly studied ethics, there are chapters of ethics that you've read through. But I'll tell you, in my view, in my limited experience of 35 years, nothing makes you in good stead than 3 things. Integrity, as somebody said earlier, honesty, it's the same thing. Righteousness, empathy. These are all so important that unfortunately it is forgotten. I do not know why it is so forgotten. And this is something which people in my court will possibly hear this on a regular basis. Everything that we understand that we do for another. Everything that we are expected to do is to support and nurture somebody else. It's somebody else's life. Empathy is a great leveling factor. As Mahatma Gandhi said, it's his starting point. He said, "Do unto others as you would want others to do unto you." This is the starting point for a lawyer, for a professional advocate. Do unto others as you would want others to do unto you. Please understand that that person is you. Step into his shoes, as the old aphorism says, before you judge a person, step into his shoes and walk a mile. Every person in front of you will have a problem or an issue which you are not recognizing or you are not aware. Never be judgmental. As judges also I say this, we don't judge people. I am nobody to say that a person is bad or good. I can only judge actions. The Constitution permits me to judge actions, never to judge a person. Never judge a person. We cannot judge people. That is a province of the providence. We can judge actions, and you are expected to know how to support or otherwise certain actions. We are not here to fight people or to understand a person to be bad or good. Even I do not do that, I cannot do that. This is the profession in its nutshell. I do not know how many minutes I have taken, but this is a fantastic gathering. I have not seen anybody being impatient. So thank you for that. What I told you is perhaps, I told you, it's just 1% or less of what the profession can do, of what a senior can tell you in future. Every moment you spend at the bar, every moment you spend in the profession will be a breezy one, take it from me. You will have pitfalls. There will be days where you will have no clients, you will feel depressed. Believe me, this happens to everybody sitting here. Every one of us here, every one of us have gone through those moments. And when you go through it, please don't be under the impression, why be alone? No. This is what every man, every woman, every young entrant has gone through. And that kind of uncertainty travels with you for perhaps a decade or more. Sometimes even more. So the profession is uncertain, no doubt, but there is nothing like the profession. I have seen the best of the profession. And I am completely aware as to what the profession can do to you. And if you want to see what a very ordinary man has done in his profession, just look at it. This is all that I can. This is an example. I am the product of all these seniors. The way they were able to shape you, nurture you, with all the finest of ethical standards that we have been, raised to think clearly. I don't know if you have heard this. It's a Chinese proverb which is anonymous. Be careful of your thoughts. Have you heard this? Be careful of your thoughts because thoughts becomes your words. Be careful of your words because words becomes your action. Be careful of your action because actions becomes your habits. Be careful of your habits because habits becomes your character. And be careful of your character because a character defines destiny. So the destiny to the thoughts. This is what we are. If you hear anything else contrary to the standards that I'm telling you now, don't believe it. Don't believe it. We are the finest and we are chosen to this profession, to this calling, not because you think that you have walked into it. No. Every one of us are ordained and brought into this for a purpose. We have a great purpose in front of us. And we are expected by the Constitution of India, which is perhaps the finest organic document in the world, to be excellent. I say this to all students, Article 51, capital AJ. We have an obligation to be excellent. It is not a choice. As lawyers, please understand, we have an obligation to be excellent. Excellence does not mean being excellent in comparison to another. Excellence is in comparison to ourselves. You have to be as excellent as you can ever be. There is no limit to that. It is limitless. And if you understand that unlimited visage before you, you understand the journey that you are expected to take, guided by the Article 51AJ proposition, you understand what law is. You will understand what a law is. Feel proud, act with rectitude, and think with clarity. Exude that confidence that any judge will recognize that you mean business. You come to me walking, meaning business, I'll possibly weakly say, stay. Stay, not stay. Notice it, stay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
രണ്ടാമത് പറയുന്നത്
So we are going to the last session of this program. I invite Dima to give you a thanks.
Any questions? Vinanda?
If anyone has any questions, now is the time.
Chance to grill the judge. Whatever he will say, don't ask questions. I'm not expected to answer. No, I have no choice. എല്ലാം മനസ്സിലായി.
As we draw close to this truly illuminating session, I am reminded of a profound truth articulated by Aristotle. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. Justice Devan Ramachandran sir is a person who exemplifies this very principle. Thank you, sir, for generously sharing your invaluable insights. Your words, particularly your emphasis on imperative of improving one's own value and continuous pursuit of growth, has been a powerful call to action. Furthermore, your insight in highlighting the need for continuous adaptation in our dynamic legal landscape is a crucial reminder for all of us to remain agile and lifelong learners. We are truly enriched by your wisdom and perspective. Sir, on behalf of Bharatiya Abhibhashan Parishad High Court Unit and on behalf of every budding lawyer present here, I extend our sincerest gratitude to you. As a token of our love and gratitude, we would like to present a small memento to David Amston, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
So this is it. Function is over.
What am I? All the best. You have completed. Thank you. What is it? How did that?
Oh, that's it. You must not have a ah, okay. Oh, really? So you enrolled after she answered. She enrolled not friend. Thank you so much. And the
സ്ട്രീം കട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. ഇല്ല.